You have the leaked API keys and secret tokens too, and the encryption process. And we're going to have a good talk about this encryption part, right? That's why we have to focus on why the JavaScript files are kind of important, right? About finding the keys, I actually use an extension. It's kind of comfort for me because I'm a classic man a little bit. I don't use too much tools. It's me in browser in the verb and some extensions, some things. I don't kind of use too much tools to do these things. So I use extensions. I'm using this extension to this code, and as you can see, this code has 0 bonus API key disclosed in the main home page of our application. I just open the application and find something, just click, I got out $250 and just got out. I closed it, I don't want anything anymore. I'm just doing only for 5 time, okay? And I got $250, okay, I'm closing it, thank you, okay? And for the more automation, if the customer have too many assets, too many JavaScript files or something, I actually use a secret finder and the API. The API has a tag called exposure, or they have token and they have secrets and they have API underscore conflict. But I actually use exposure because it contains more keys and more templates. All right, you heard me, right? And here we have the output of secret finder. It actually creates us an HTML file contains the keys that it's extracted it from the file, the JavaScript file itself. All right. I use these two tools for automating it quicker. Right. And for confirming these keys, like you have the key, but you don't know what it's used for. Right. I'm recently using SIF. Shout out to Mawah if he's available. It's his product, right, and his company's product. They actually have more than 750 API keys, like providing you something like this comment. You want to confirm your bonus? Okay, call this comment with your API key, right? So they have a great key set. I'm using it in person. Okay. And this, as I said, the JavaScript file may contain a lot of things. Like I found the GWT. Recently in one of the programs, I just opened a JavaScript file, random one, and I found the GWT. What are you doing? I found out that the application, before I go into the application, you have to do a verification, okay? Like an identity verification, something like that. So what about using this? It's the developer's mindset. We can call the API key of this application with the GWT directly. Right, you have the GWT, I accessed his account, I found the tons of users' IDs uploaded and their PII on the third party that they are using. They hacked this company's account by their GWT, all right? Okay, and as I said, the credentials encryption, and actually I missed this slide. It's not about just the creed encryption. Too many times when we hunt or doing something, we can find that the credentials, the username and password being encrypted or something, all right? So it's happening via the UI. You already submitted them in a field text. So in the request, they change it. So there's something happened. Actually, the Chrome Dev Tools is very helpful in this case. And something to know that I forgot to add is not about encrypting the credentials only, but encrypting the request itself. Most of the applications that use this encryption method actually depends on it too heavily dependation, okay? So if you could decrypt these messages by JavaScript files, you get a lot of items. They do not check if this ID is related to this user. No, they just checking the nature of the request. Okay, the encoding, encryption is correct and the signature is validated and everything is good. So give him the data of this ID. So they are heavily depending on encrypting requests instead of securing the assets in real. Okay. And we have too many JavaScript files. Now, what more you مليين. الله ينور على النبي. All right, we have the JavaScript files in the pursuit history, and here actually, like you're moving among too many tabs, opening everything in the application, so most of the JavaScript files gonna get cold. So I'm doing this filter in the scope, and sometimes the targets are using JavaScript files hosted in another host, so we can skip this. All right. So I added in the scope the companies like host, but most or a little bit times the companies use the JavaScript files hosted on another host. So make sure you're not missing anything while doing this. And I'm showing only JavaScript files, like selecting all copy URLs. Then you got the JavaScript files. And if you don't know the JavaScript file, inside it, it can call another JavaScript file. And that's the trick I'm actually using, me and most of the guys, to find something really juicy, right? Most of the people just depend on the normal JavaScript files that being shown and used in the application itself, but it's calling another JavaScript file inside the JavaScript file. So it's not kinda gonna show up in your perp or something. What if it's on different hosts? What if it's opening with a specific header or something? So you have to check if the JavaScript files inside the JavaScript file is accessible. They are depending on it, taking something from it. If there is anything juicy, useful right there, so don't miss this trick. All right, we have like when I open a target, I wanna do some collection for the general JavaScript files. I'm using no anymore, or before it, I had a small script using way back Katana, HA crawler, and GAU at once, just one liner using the 4 tools. But now I'm actually running more on no anymore. So actually, after grabbing too much URLs, they are not all of them valid. Okay, they are not. Maybe they 404 or something. Maybe they are opening just with 200K, but it's a redirection. Maybe they don't have even a JavaScript file. Okay, so after grabbing all these URLs, I'm grabbing the .js file, then I'm running HTTPX to find the valid JavaScript files URLs between the crawl URLs. And then on depending more, it can be called, but actually 404. Yes, it's like, but 404. So I'm matching code 200K. But what if it's 200K and everything's fine, but it's not a JavaScript file, like it's a homepage or something. It's gonna show up in HTTPX normally because it matches 200K. But it's not a JavaScript file, it's normal homepage or something. It's making a redirection or something. It will show up in HTTPX with matching the 200K. So I did this custom tool. It's verifying actually the status and if this is actual JavaScript file. All right, to confirm them directly, I grab them and throw them to this tool directly, right? And there is an additional scope here, something you can miss too, is about inspecting the old JavaScript file. As you know, maybe most of the JavaScript files have this hash, this random text. What does this hash mean? What does it mean? It's like hash for the old file, you know, when you encrypt file with or getting its SHA-256 or something, it's like a hash for this specific file. So if this hash, you gotta change it, so the JavaScript file gotta edit it. Okay? So here, if the JavaScript file doesn't have a hash, it's like main.js, index.js, so it kind of have a history. Right? So you can open it in the Wayback or any archive website or something to view the old version. You can find some really old endpoints, but they are not used, but they in the back end are still active. You can actually call them. Okay? So you have to check the Wayback Machine if the JavaScript file doesn't have a hash. Actually, this trick got me a lot of money. And funding for JavaScript files. Here, if it doesn't has this hash, so we can fuzz, okay? Like adding the flag of -e GS. I'm here kind of messy because I'm using one list for all, but you have to use a shorter word list or something. That was a screenshot for the slide. So it's kind of providing the URL, the GS, or just normal fuzzing and using the extension of GS. And I actually prefer the first one. Why? Because this, if there is an asset or a directory, one more here, it's not going to be used. But if you use this and you open the recursion with the e-JavaScript, so if there is a batch, it will try it, then opening a JavaScript file after it. You getting me? So that's why I prefer the flag of -e GS to add an extension for JavaScript file. And here we have a source mapper. If you didn't know, every JavaScript file has a map file. It's, let's say, an instruction for this JavaScript file, how it's organized, how it's working or something. And the secret here that this .map file of GS, you can open it by, like, let's say, the JavaScript file is called faris.gs. You can open faris.gs.map, okay? That's gonna direct you directly downloading the .map file of the JavaScript. This .map file could be actually extracted. You could extract, like, let's say, the React source code for the front end that the developer has written. You can do it using a tool called Source Mapper. You can find it over GitHub. And this is gonna make the endpoints looks more clear. If there is something, leaked keys or something, it's gonna be more clear because you have the main source code, not this wholly complicated JavaScript file or something, okay? And for the extraction of the endpoints, the secret of full extraction, the full endpoints. I don't know, there are too many different developers, and it's kind of, you write in a way, you write in a different way. You are using Angular, you are using React, so different frameworks, different developers. So the way that this was a target, this was a target, this was a target, you can see that every developer, every different application is using a different way to fetch the endpoints. So kind of using the normal tools to extract the endpoints will definitely miss something, okay? So what I'm actually doing here, I'm using Regex, okay? The custom Regex I actually use, okay? And that's why I made next with my custom tool too. But I can add a regex for any case. Like I made a regex for this one. It's this one will work here. Like for this one, for example, the first one will work here. Third one, actually this one is gonna work. So each regex, each application I visit during a test or something, I'm doing a regex for it, and this is my own regex file. If you want to screenshot it or something to use it later, but I don't recommend you to screenshot a regex because it's kind of complicated. Okay, and I have an extra extension in the verb itself. While hunting, it extracts me some URLs, some endpoints. It's doing its job, okay? But as I told you, if I want to focus on an application, doing a build test, or really hunting for a real bug-bounty program, I actually use a custom regex to make sure I didn't miss any endpoint in the application, all right? Here, as someone focusing on the JavaScript files, actually one of the main things that you can do is crafting records, okay? You have just the endpoint in JavaScript file, so how are you gonna send this records, okay? How do you know the parameters, all right? This can happen in too many ways. Actually, after extracting the endpoints from JavaScript files, there was an application like I'm trying to create a report. But to create this report, you have to have an active campaign that's worth $500, and I'm not gonna pay that amount to a program anyway. And so I focused on, like, I will get this endpoint directly and I can call it, all right? But as you see, when I called it, it told me blah, 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 must not be enough. Okay, is that your problem? I'm not gonna make it not, okay? So I provided a double curly brackets open and close because he said I'm not bending on being a null, okay, like here. So I didn't send any post data in this case. So after I sent the curly brackets, it actually disclosed in the error message all the parameters or the remaining parameters that it requires. I made this recipient, okay, and name and interview. This interview was a little bit tricky too, but I actually stuck here where this, like the request metrics and request split parameters. They was kind of hard to know them. I didn't know actually. I provided you the name, recipients, interview, the parameters you earlier asked me for, but now I will have to know these parameters value, okay? What are you expecting from these parameters? So this is the useful or the benefit from the history crafting. What is the history crafting doing? Actually, while inspecting in the verb history, I searched it with like a word of metrics or a word of split in a double quotes, okay? And I found this record. Doing it here. There is something called split and something called metrics. You find it? So browsing your history may be useful in your journey to craft the request in the JavaScript file, right? So after I crafted the whole request, look how hard could a request be. I actually spent maybe 2 hours trying to craft this specific request, and because all of us know that the real good work is getting well paid, I got no bounties from the program. After spending 2 hours in only one request, I got nothing. So I skipped it and kept my hunt. Then we have another kind of crafting. As I said in the earlier of the talk, in the start, I told you that you have to focus on the application. What is this record? What is this parameter? What are you responsible for? So the actual crafting is kind of helpful. In this case, for example, I faced this request after I ripped it from a JavaScript file and saying this user doesn't have an admin access. Okay, why? If I didn't know this following information, I wouldn't exploit it at all, right? The most of the requests in this application had a specific parameter. Every request had a different parameter and different value or something. Some requests had a parameter called session ID, access token, user token, session, access ID, in different requests and different parameter names, but all of them has like 28, 32 bytes of a hash or something. It's your secret token, okay? It's being provided in one of these parameters, okay? So this is the icon. So if I didn't know this, I wouldn't complete the request. Actually, after I submitted this session ID parameter with the value to this request, it worked normally. So that's why the app flow and understanding the whole parameters is effective. All right. And then we have the AI crafting. As I showed earlier, the metrics parameter and split was providing or was showing an error message. Was showing an error message, as I said. Okay, so I kind of copied this error message directly and sent it to. I don't remember actually if this is ChatGPT or DeepSeek or something. Anyway, so it responded actually to me about the correct value from the error message. This is a Java error message. Okay, so it analyzed it and he already submitted me the value of the metrics that I could actually use. It worked, right? Coming from here to here, it worked. right? So it kind of, if you are not familiar with Java and its errors, so it will actually help you. So always STI, I use. And here, about monitoring the JavaScript files, actually, as I said at the beginning of the talk, like if the file of JavaScript has a hash, you cannot monitor it, okay? You just need to skip it, because if this has changed, this file is edited, so it got a new hash, so you're gonna find a new file with a new hash, okay? So if it doesn't have a hash for JavaScript files or something, or fair or something, it's a constant, like as I said, parent.js, main.js, index.js, you can monitor it. You can, with GSMoon, it's on GitHub publicly, you can actually find the difference if this file has been edited. It's like repeating, requesting this and trying to extract the endpoint. If you fetch it something new, it actually divides you an HTML difference file, okay, between the all. But if the file has a specific hash or something, so there's no need you will not be able to even monitor it, because if they haven't changed it, this file is not available anymore. Here, some vulnerability disclosure with the JavaScript files too. We have an SSR app. Actually, I had this weird SSR app, but I couldn't view it. I couldn't access any metadata or any internal data or something. But actually, about finding this internal host in the JavaScript file moved me to another host. I couldn't yet fetch internal data or metadata, but this host actually entered me inside the internal company. This is an internal domain, like the developers or the employees are using it internally in the company. So after getting this host, I actually used it in this SSR app, and I was able to fetch from the internal side any data of any API with this host. Even I couldn't extract any metadata, but this is still an impact for the company. Here, yeah, the editing only admin is detail valid, like the organization name and organization email was totally forbidden to be edited from the user himself, but he has to get the permission from the admin, so you have to protect the admin to edit this field and something like that, okay? But I found this endpoint, it's called organization updates. You got something I want, okay? So I actually called this endpoint, and finally I was able to, like, as I told you the earlier one, this was the parameter that I mentioned, this session ID one. If I remove this parameter, I will get this error, okay? But with providing, it's editing the organization name and email and data, which is forbidden. It was a medium vulnerability. And then we have finally the plan limitation bias. Like, you know, if you are standard plan, free plan, basic, pro, org, enterprise, something different plan, but you cannot actually navigate to another page or paid functionality and easily use it. No, it actually shows something like you cannot access this here, you cannot click this button, it's not included in your plan, blah 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 blah. Some blocks, useless blocks. But via the JavaScript file, you can extract these endpoints, as we show it too many times in the presentation, and call these endpoints. Actually, this is kind of getting scanned in programs and some things, because why it's said like that, but most of the programs actually accept it. So it's impactful from the financial side on the application and the user, right? What if you could like use a paid functionality? So you're using something should be paid, you have to pay it for free. Okay, so it's causing financial loss. Some companies accept it as medium, some as low, because their billing team are reviewing through months, and a SOC team will know if a free plan user is using a premium functionality, and blah blah blah, some reasons to scam. And as you know, I actually got 3 vulnerabilities recently, yesterday. Got 3 but I guess And here, that's not emotion, and that's everything for today. I hope you enjoyed. Got some tips and tricks, got some useful information, and I love you all.
Okay, guys, how are you feeling? So far, so good? Perfect. Any questions for the speaker right now? Lift your hands if you have any.